Welcome, guys. So we got 2 more weeks left for this free mentorship. Let's see if we're able to have some really good movements of price. I'm currently looking at the low here at NASDAQ, which is this low here. I believe price could possibly test that, and I want to see if we have any support around that level. And if we do come down, take the liquidity below the low, test that there. I want to see it possibly keep on heading upwards afterwards. So let's look at what price did this morning or what it's done today. Let me just put this here so I know when we started today. So we had an Asia session here, kind of a slanted consolidation going down. And we opened up in London with an initial consolidation with the same type of price action in Asia. And afterwards at about 3 o'clock, we started heading higher, taking out Asia's high up here, consolidating, and then New York session, we started pretty much having a really nice deep dive here, going towards the downside. We had a really nice imbalance, which looked to be a good setup here. I've been waking up a bit late lately. I don't know why, but that's why I haven't been able to catch any good moves, but it's good. So had that imbalance there. And at 9:30 here, we came up into the imbalance and started rejecting and trading lower. If you look at the 5-minute or the 1-minute, you could also see that we took out liquidity above these highs and this high here before heading down. So we had liquidity and imbalance and also hit this up candle here as resistance. And that's when the price started breaking down. Honestly, I don't know how well I would have done in this price action because it looks really sloppy, going up and down with big ranges. So I might have gotten stopped out in break even or something with this here. But then here we see this would have been a really nice entry here with these wicks in here going inside of a really small imbalance right there. I don't know if you guys can see it, but there it is. Right there. That could have been a really good entry. When price broke down, created the imbalance, and then came into it here, went all the way down, made equal lows here, and then retraced back into the imbalance once more before heading lower and taking out the equal lows down there as well. But then again, I'm not 100% sure how I would have been looking at it with live data. But let's focus on what we have right now. So we had a continuation lower. Price came right back up for a retracement. And also, if you guys look at your fib, since we had a fib lesson on the YouTube earlier, let's take the high with the low. This high makes a range, right, from this high down to this low here. And we have that 62% retracement right there. We had a really nice fib retracement into an imbalance and into liquidity. So that's good enough for you to be able to place a trade. You could place it on the 62%. And like I mentioned, stop loss would have to be above the 100%. And you could use these extensions as well for take profits, which currently we've hit the 100% extension level, which gives us a really nice 4-to-1. The 61.8 gives us a 3-to-1. A 2.6-to-1 at the 41.40. And a 2.3-to-1 on the 27.20. So we've been extending lower since 9:30. It's been quite some time now. I would expect a bit of a retracement here. We could possibly see that. But I'm overall interested. Like I said, I'm overall interested to see if we come down for this low and then reject that low there. So we'll see what price does here for the rest of the morning session. It's 11 o'clock. We got about 1 hour left or so for the AM session. On the 5-minute, we have an imbalance and a high that went inside of the imbalance. I want to see if we break this high here. I think we could possibly look for a retracement to go higher. So let's go ahead and mark that high. I think we should be able to consider it as a break of market structure. If we break that high and create an imbalance, then I would definitely would like to look for that as a buying opportunity. Could possibly retrace back inside of the range that we had this full morning from this high down to this low. I don't really like how we left these lows out though. They look too clean, and price might want to go down there just once more, but we'll look at what price action gives us right now. Okay, so price did create here an imbalance here, but like I mentioned, we had to create it once we traded above this high. So this imbalance would not be valid, and we could possibly see price coming down for these lows because like I mentioned, these lows are way too clean for me. I believe they should want to come down just once, just to clean out any early buyers. They would probably want to clean those out. But looking on the 1 hour, looks like it could. I mean, it looks pretty heavy to the downside. Like could possibly keep on heading down for this low here that we marked out at the beginning of the session. Okay, so let's see if we are able to expand here above this high and this high. Like I mentioned, this high here would be the one that should create the break of structure for a price here. Let me just take a look at the DXY real quick. So looking at the DXY, seems that the monthly might be wanting to push above this high here, actually. And I believe, yeah, on the 4 hour, we did come close to some balance in here, but we also have liquidity down here. So the higher time frame still not saying, I mean, the lower time frame still not saying much because it's pretty much inside of this low and this high. It's pretty much inside of a range, kind of consolidated. We did have a really nice push downwards this morning. So if it keeps on going higher here for DXY, trying to take out these highs here, then they'll probably want to make a US 100 to come down for its slow down here. In your broker, it might be NDX. I'm not sure. If you go to details, see if it says NASDAQ. If it says NASDAQ, then that's going to be the one. If you hit where all your pairs are, and just I think if you hold it and then click on details, it should say something about NASDAQ. Because different brokers, there's different names to it. Some of them say U Tech, some of them say US Tech, another one says US 100 sometimes, or NAS 100. But if you click on the symbol that you're mentioning and then hit properties or details, it should tell you US 100 or US Tech 100, and that should be it. But it sounds like NDX 100 something else that they could use for this. Every broker has a different name for it for some reason. And possibly your other broker could also have, instead of like TradingView has only one decimal, it could possibly have 2 decimals instead of 1. Hmm. How do they look like? Do you want to send me a screenshot through Instagram and I'll take a look at it? Yeah, yeah. Go ahead and send me a screenshot and I'll look at it and I'll tell you if it is or not. No, it's pullback effect. But it sounds like it could be Nasdaq. Or maybe you're on a different time frame. That's why you probably see it different. Okay, so here we see price respecting every down candle. So we should see it continue on to making a new higher than this high here. So we should see a continuation higher still. Once we do break this high, I would prefer to see a really large movement, just like how we had this down movement here. That way it'll guarantee me a little bit more that, okay, I got the image. It'll guarantee me a little bit more that it should continue going higher. Mm, your chart looks like really small. Is it probably because you're not zoomed in? But you're in trading view, so did you put here US 100? You could put US 100 and it's capital com, and it should take you to this chart here. Or try pressing Control R, and it should reset it to this normal size. If you press Control R, that's what I just did right now. That's why it kind of like refreshed. Yeah, but it looks like tiny, huh? On your end. Maybe you have it like this or something, like too zoomed out. Have you put Control R on your keyboard? Or wait. Oh no, I think it's Alt R. What is it? Oh yeah, it's Alt. It's Alt R. It should reset it, just like I did right now. I press Alt R and it resets it. Or you could use the axis here also to make it bigger and scroll up and down to also make it wider. Okay, okay, I see. Nasdaq one. Yeah, yeah, you're in a different chart. I think that's let me see. That could be the futures one. That's why. It's pretty much the same thing, but it varies just a little bit. Yeah, because you have gaps and everything. So this is hey, this is the chart that you're in, right? And usually it has like real trading hours down here or electronic. Yeah, I mean it could be the same thing. It depends on the broker that you're using. If it's a futures broker, then yeah, you probably want to use this chart. But if it's a CFD broker, then it's the one that I'm using. You put US 100, and it would be this one, Capital Com. And that way you don't have the gaps anymore. As to this one here. This one has the gaps because they have the market close at at 4 o'clock. Right here's where they close, and they reopen until 9:30 again. So you're pretty much missing out on, or the chart's missing out on all of this price action here on from, oh wait, actually more. The chart's missing. Where is it at? Yeah, over here. It would be missing from this to this here. That's why you have the gap from up here to down here. That's why you have that gap here on NDX. There's this gap here. It's just that it's missing that price action, because on the futures they close at 4 and they reopen until 9:30, which is the New York Stock Exchange open. It shouldn't. Go to US 100 and look for the one that says Capital Com. Or click, and maybe you're in futures here. That's why, or something. If you make sure you're in all, and it should show you all of them. And then just click on the one that says Capital Com. Okay, so currently, one sec. Okay, so currently we took out this high here. Well, like I mentioned, I would have preferably we would want to see it break with a really good expansion, just like we had here. So we did not see that. We just seen price have a really small higher high from this high. So right now, the most likelihood for price to do is to come down for this sell side liquidity. So we have sell side here. And if you speak Spanish, Alejandro, I'll do this. We'll be doing Spanish session tomorrow. If you want to join there as well. But sounds okay. So we have this consolidation here. We have the outer liquidity on the on this high here, and the outer liquidity on this low here. So we already took the high out. As long as price stays below the open of this up candle, it should continue going lower for the sell side. On which one? On NDX? Oh, it looks the same. That's weird. Should be the same. Because on my MT4, it's also pretty much the same. So I'm gonna take note of this open of this down candle here real quick. We could possibly see support for price to go higher there. But overall, I think it should keep on going lower for these lows here. Because we did not break with the good expansion without any imbalance created. And we already took out this high from this ranging market. So the next area would be down here, which looks like it has really good clean lows. So we'll take a look right now, see if it continues lower or if this acts as support for price to continue higher. Like I said, we would have to break above and close above this open here for it to continue on going higher. They could have just a retracement from this low to this high back down to this low to keep expanding higher. 15,073. And did you put the one that says capital com? That's pretty weird. I mean, it should be the same one. But 15,073 is all the way down here. We didn't even get there, but yeah, it's weird. I'm not sure why you're showing different prices. It shouldn't matter too much though, because if you're going to be executing a trade, you're going to be executing on a MT4 anyways. And on the MT4, it shows for some reason different prices as well on the MT4. For example, my MT4 right now it says, oh, it's a little slightly the same, but right now it's at 15,000. Right, what is it? Watch, this high is at 15,089.8. And on my MT4, it's 15,090.10. So sometimes they vary for a little bit depending on the broker as well. That's why you have a small variation. It usually happens a lot with the NASDAQ. Yeah, let me see if I could send the link. I can't remember how to do that though. I think it was it could be this. Yeah, you could copy this link here that I'll paste to you, and then I think you could push this button, launch 100 US chart, and it should take you to the chart. I think that's it. And you see, try using that link there, and then just click launch US 100 chart. And it should take you to the exact same chart. Is your MT4 the same as your the TradingView chart that you were using, or is it different? Also. Yeah, you should be able to click that chart and or the link that I send you right now. What looks the same? Your trading view chart with your MT4 chart, you mean? Okay. I mean, if it looks the same there, it's good. You should be good then with that. The thing that matters most is what's I mean, being the US 100, if you're in that asset, that's the most important thing, and what the candlesticks are on your chart or your MT4, because sometimes it'll vary as well on different brokers, but as long as it's the same on your chart and everything, and you use the bodies and the wicks to make a reference and not so much the price where it's at, you should be good with that, because price is going to be respecting where the opens and closes from the bodies are, and not so much like the price is something secondary, we could say. Okay, yeah, it looks the same. That's good. Yeah, that the link should have worked. Okay, so currently, let's look at the other indices real quick. Wow, yes, 500 is really consolidated. So US 30 looks weak, and so does US 500 compared to US 100. So US 100 should give us, if it's going to keep on going higher, it should give us a really nice strong buy. So we've already took this high out. We came down for a retracement down lower between this low and this high. We retraced down into that range, came back up, retraced down into this down candle here. So it's using that as support. Now we want to see it start pushing up higher, hopefully leaving us with an imbalance that we could use to place a trade with. Let's look at DXY real quick. And DXY currently took out these highs here, so that could make DXY want to start heading lower. If it starts heading lower, then that'll give us that would give us a better setup for NASDAQ to keep on heading higher. And we're in the last half hour of the morning session, which ends at 12, right there. And usually the last half hour, the last hour could have more volatility injected in the marketplace, especially if we came down from 930 up here. We've been coming down from 930, and then we started consolidating right before the last hour. Then that means that possibly the last half hour we could have a really good retracement back inside of the range from high down to low. So let's mark that out. We'll mark this high down to this low. And we have the 50% here, and above this high we have our fib retracement, the 62, 71, and 78.6%. So we want to see price continue for a retracement and up higher into that area there. If you look closely here, we created an imbalance right there. An imbalance. What an imbalance is pretty much, it's a body of a candlestick that doesn't have wicks to the left of it and wicks to the right of it. So here, if we grab this high,
and the low from this candlestick, you could see that there's no wicks around the body of this candle like we do here or here, a lot of wicks to the side of it. So what imbalances do, they pretty much act as support. So you could see how this candlestick came down and tapped the top end of the imbalance, went into it a little bit, but then rejected and kept on going higher. So that's pretty much what I like to see, for me to know that I'm in sync with the bullish order flow. And this is on the 1 minute time frame as well. We could probably possibly see the same thing for other time frames and we look at them. But essentially it should keep on going higher. And we come back down low into this imbalance, we'll see if it reacts again as support to send it higher into, like I mentioned, we should be able to retrace inside of the range that we made this morning. So we should at least retrace into the 50%, but most likely into above the high here and possibly hitting the ratios here. Based on the 5 minute time frame, we've just opened this new 5 minute candle. We have this down candle here, which should as well act as support, which we just currently saw a little bit. 15-minute candle opened up as well, and 30-minute candle. The 30-minute candle, there's nothing much that I could get from, but the 15-minute candle, we see that we have an imbalance here as well. So we want to see price stay above, essentially stay above that area there, for it to continue going higher. The most it could go down low would be the 1 minute imbalance, but preferably I would like to see this 1 minute imbalance stay open without any price action going into it. And we should essentially just trade inside of this 15-minute one. Remember, this rectangle here is the 15-minute imbalance. So we should essentially just trade inside of this one and keep on going higher. I used to trade GU, GJ. I don't really trade, but before I started trading indices, what I would trade was GP USD and Euro USD. Pretty much any major pair, which the major pairs are the pairs that have the dollar currency with it. But I'll possibly do, if you guys want me, I could do some analysis on forex pairs as well. But here, as you guys can see, we came down into this area. As I mentioned, we should act as support, and also the open on the 5 minute candle here, which should be the one that acts as support as well. Came down into it, and now we're beginning to expand back up again. And we have a small imbalance here on the 5 minute as well, but I want to see price break through that. We should be able to break through it and keep on going higher. If you trade GP JPY and GBP USD, it could be good for you to look at USD JPY as well, to look at correlations in both, or in the 3 markets, and that way you could decipher which one would be the best buy or sell. Which on
on more advanced lessons, I'll probably show you guys how to properly use correlation or use markets to correlate each other. But if you do trade those two, the GP USD and GP JPY, it'd be good for you to look at USD JPY as well, just to correlate all three. And the DXY obviously as well. And if you ever see GP USD and USD JPY consolidating, that means that GP JPY is possibly going to be trending as well. You might see it trend. So let's take a look real quick. You have GPUSD. Why? It looked kind of consolidated. So JPY should be trending a little bit more. But UJ is the one that looks like it's bullish. So if UJ is going higher, this one's going a little bit lower. Yeah, that's going to have GP Gen kind of consolidated because they're both going the opposite direction right now. GU is going lower and VJ is going higher. So USD JPY might possibly be, or no, not GP. I meant GP JPY. Yeah, GP JPY would be pretty much in a consolidation here. GJ. Yeah, I mean GJ, I wouldn't really trade GJ right now with what the other two markets are doing. If I'd take a sell, it'd probably be on GPUSD. But I think I like USD JPY the most for buys because it's the one that's trending a lot more. I said that if you would be trading any of these three pairs, the one I would likely be looking for is USD JPY because it's the one that's been stretching out a lot more. So if you look for buys in this scenario, it's gonna give you a most likelihood for it to come higher for the high here and possibly this high here. If you look, UJ came down, took out these lows here. So it took out sell side liquidity already. Now the next thing to take out would be buy side, which it already took some buy side here. So it could have a little bit of retracement, but overall it should probably try to search for these highs here. And since you have UJ going high and you have GPUSD going low, that's going to make GBP JPY want to consolidate. That's why I personally wouldn't want to trade GP JPY right now. If I had to decide for a market between those three, I'd probably be trying to look for buys on UJ instead. Which is pretty much what I marked out here on the indices as well. We have US 100, we have US 500, and then we have US 30. And like I mentioned, the US 30 and US 500 looked a lot weaker than US 100. US 100 looked like it wanted to go much higher than these two. And you could see how US30 has been only, it hasn't really done much. It's been really sideways. And US 500 as well has been more sideways. If you compare it to US 100, you could see that it's actually trying to go higher. That's why I mentioned earlier, if I would be buying any of these three, it'd be best to buy US 100 because it's the one that's going to have more expansions to the upside. And since we're looking for expansions to the upside, where can it expand to? It could expand inside of the range that we created this morning because it's in the last hour of the morning session. So we will have the high here. This range from this high down to this low, we have a range and we have 50% here. So it could go up to 50 or a little bit higher, which since we've got on or called out that should be going higher, that's what it's pretty much been doing. We could possibly see a retracement down here and tap on this hourly imbalance here. So if it comes down here, you could possibly frame a buy. The most that you would want it to not retrace to is down here with this one here. So that's where pretty much your stop loss should be. And then big profit above this high would be exactly at a 2-to-1. So that's a good risk to reward ratio. It would be a pretty decent setup there. And the areas here that I've been using as support, they've been acting as support as well. But if we have any deeper retracement, this is where I would like to see the next buying opportunity come. Well, I don't think it should retrace too much because if it does, it could be respecting this 5-minute imbalance that I had marked here. And that would not be too good. So we would really want to, if it's going to start expanding up, we really want to see it just tap on this here and then keep expanding up and not so much trade through this price action in here. So if it trades lower and it keeps on trading lower, I'd possibly take the trade out before it actually hits the stop. But we'll see right now how price action reacts. As we see here, it went down into the imbalance here that we have marked out from this high and this low. Comes down, takes out liquidity. And I'm not 100% sure if we actually have a discount. So let's mark the fib. And yeah, we do. We have a 62% retracement here. So essentially, we want to see price start heading higher now. So this high, it's barely a 1-to-1. No, your broker doesn't have it? Or it's the same thing, NASDAQ 100 and US 100. What broker are you using? Just be careful because NASDAQ's really volatile. So just a little bit of movement could be a lot in dollar terms. Yeah. Is it like a funded account or? Yeah. Yeah, just I think ACAP has. I think it has large contracts. So like I'm not exactly sure how much the contract size is in ACAP, but I think a 0.01 is like $10 per point. That's that. But yeah, so this is something I would not really like to see. The last line of the sand for it to keep on going higher, I think would be just taking out this though and reject it right away. I wouldn't really want to see it go down too much. Because we still have this 5-minute candle here that could protect us from going lower. The only thing I don't like is how it rejected exactly on this 5-minute imbalance. So here, once we take out this low here, we really want to see it start jumping up. It would be a level of liquidity to be taking from this low here. Okay, so like I said, we want to really start seeing expanding higher here. I wouldn't really like for it to come back down below this low anymore. And we're able to manage to get above this shaded square here. I think we probably should be good to keep on going higher. We already have US 500 coming down here for these lows, so that's enough for a good divergence, also for US 30. So we should start heading higher now. NASDAQ's still the strongest one out of the three, out of US 500 and US 30. NASDAQ's pretty much the strongest one without even wanting to come down for its sell side here. So this should be the retracement here that it's going to have to keep on going higher now. And another thing that we could do to measure our objectives is we could take our fib level and measure this low to this high. And that gives us here the 100%. That should be a good profit area. And let me see if I could change my settings. Okay, so the 100% would be here. This would be the 200. And we also might want to mark out the 150. So I'm just going to grab another fib level. And this would be the 150, right? Right there. Let me erase this one. It's got about 10 seconds left for a new 5-minute candle as well. We still have this area here, the shaded area, as an area of support for price to continue higher. So as long as we don't trade below it or close below it, price should be good for it to keep on heading higher. If it does stop out, then we could just switch the bias and look for the sells into the sell side here. Using this as resistance. And pretty much the stop would be above this high. So we'll take a look at that right now if we get stopped out. Essentially, if it's going to be going higher, it should not stop us out. But if it's going to keep on going lower, then it will most likely stop out. Mark this low to this high real quick, just to check the retracements. Yeah, it's essentially right on the 78.60. And it all depends what it does here with this imbalance here. If we rip through it and just go just above it, just like we're doing now, if it closes above this imbalance that you see here, and let me mark it for you, we can see it more clearly. If we're able to close above this here, it should that should be the definite low because we already closed down this imbalance and traded into these last down candles. So afterwards, it should just keep expanding up higher. So that's good right there, how we closed above it. It could come, this candle could come down and just tap the top end of this. And that would be a good enough for support to keep on going higher as well. Essentially, it should not trade any lower than the low of this anymore. Of the shaded box here. Yeah, so right there, that's not good. I would actually take that trade off there. Because I don't think it's going to keep on going higher since it did not respect this imbalance here anymore. So that pretty much saves you half of the risk that we had on, or saves me half of the risk that we had on. And it's probably just going to keep on trading lower. All I did here was go up higher. It tested this imbalance here as resistance. And if it was going to go higher, it should have respected this one here as support. But since it did not respect it as support, it's most likely just going to keep on going lower. So this here, could it actually be the sell with this candle going up into this body here? And we'll wait for it to, we'll see how it trades here. If it respects this area again, that's enough right there. I got the magnet on. So it should not go anywhere higher than this high anymore. But it should go down lower. Because we have this price action here with this up candle and a down candle here. And especially if it respects this area here, which is doing right now. Should essentially reject this area here to go lower again. We should not go above this high anymore. Let's look at the other indices real quick. Yeah, there's divergence. So this high has to be protected. Now that we've essentially tested this imbalance as resistance once and twice here, just the low of it came down. And this should be as high as price should go if it's going to keep on going for the sell side now. Sell side would be down below these lows. That's probably going to be a full stop there. And that would have been a full stop. After 2 trades, I mean, it's almost going to be 12 already. So that would be pretty much a losing day by taking those trades. It looks like it had respected this imbalance at here low. So it's probably just going to keep on going higher for lunch now. But that's going to be all for today. I'll possibly get connected tomorrow for the Spanish session on the Spanish YouTube as well. But since we did respect down this area here, it is most likely going to come up for this high here above the 62 and 71% most likely. That's going to be all for today. Hope you guys have a nice day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Yeah, you're welcome.